joining us now to talk about the investigation. He's been with us several times. We've got to put him on the payroll soon, I think. Jeff Lanza, retired FBI agent. Jeff, welcome back. Thank you so much, sir.
Oh, you're welcome, Steve. Yeah, I'd like to be on the payroll. That'd be nice.
Well, listen. Who could have imagined? We spoke 24 hours ago, right before the press conference, and the last 24 hours have been just insane. Have you ever seen anything like what transpired last night?
This is unprecedented. I mean, the whole week has been insane. And the way the story has unfolded is just without any kind of parallel in law enforcement history. Yeah, last night was totally insane. You're watching the things unfold on TV, and you just can't imagine how it can get to that point. But here we are, and now the goal is twofold. One, to get this guy wherever he is, and make sure that nobody else gets hurt, and then do some background investigation on these individuals to figure out what motivated them, if anybody else ultimately was involved.
Right. Well, true, very, very true. All very true. Let me ask you a question, and I don't mean this is an indictment of the police. I mean, they were having grenades thrown at them, but the fact of the matter is that they had one brother. I mean, the way at least the story is told, they had one brother down on the ground and dead, and the other brother was, drove away in the car, even ran the other brother over. How could he get away with all that police action?
It sounds like something out of a movie script.
Yeah, and he's a 19-year-old kid.
I don't know. I mean, I guess full analysis will be done of that. They'll have a sequence of events and timelines and try to figure out what went wrong there. In fast-moving situations, though, Steve, things can happen like that, and it's unfortunate that he was able to get away, but we don't really know the circumstances.
Right.
They haven't described that to us yet.
Right. All right. So this door-to-door hunt, and they found explosives. Yet everybody's talking. There's the teammates on the wrestling or boxing team. One of the brothers was a boxer. One was the one still alive is a wrestler. The father in Chechnya, who you might expect it from, who said, "No, my boys are good. They're framed." But people who knew them, except for one guy who said that the brother still at large about 6 to 9 months ago said that it's not terrorism if you're from a certain place. We're talking about these kinds of horrific acts, but otherwise everybody is shocked, and that always seems to be the way it is, at least in this post 9/11 world, where they're the pizza delivery guy at Fort Hood. They've delivered pizza. They drove a taxi. They were the neighbors to somebody. How could these people, these terrorists, these two and others in the past, how do they live these two lives?
That's a better question for a psychologist, really. But I can tell you from my perspective, where we've investigated cases, not quite like this, but where someone's come under the influence of an older brother who's been radicalized in some form or fashion. You'd be surprised how strong those bonds can be from inside the family. And so, now, if they start acting weird and doing unusual things, then maybe that flags somebody. So maybe they purposely acted that. They maintain a sense of normalcy in their lives, a sense of being nice to people, not changing their personality as they become radicalized. Look at Muhammad Atta went very calmly the day before the attacks on the World Trade Center on 9/11. They go out and eat at a Pizza Hut, and the video surveillance there didn't show them looking nervous or doing anything unusual. So I think if you're becoming a radicalized person, maybe you don't want your friends to think anything different of you as you plan these type of acts. Maybe red flags might go up.
Right, and certainly you talk about the younger brother possibly being radicalized by the older brother. We know from reports that the older brother did leave the country for about 6 months and went over to some area in Russia and left from JFK and returned to JFK. So it is certainly possible that he was the impetus behind the radicalization of his brother.
Absolutely. Older brothers, I have one myself, have a very strong influence on you as you grow up. So that could have been part of it as well. But the inner psychology of what's going on there and how this all happens, it seemingly were normal people, especially the younger kid. I really don't know.
And Jeff, we're talking to Jeff Lanza, former FBI agent here on the Steve Malzberg Show. The door-to-door search, finding explosives, eliminating, I guess, keeping people locked down. Again, very unprecedented in this country for a major city in an area like Boston. But that's the tactic that had to be used. You agree with that?
Yeah, it's a tough one because you don't want, especially people in Boston who are not used to being bossed around themselves. But you got to keep people safe, and I think the police would be remiss if they started to limit or reduce some of the limits now on movement, because if something happens and they're letting people out on the street into danger zones, there'll be a price to pay for that. So I think they have to operate out of the abundance of caution. And look, if I'm there and I'm in a house and I have to stay inside for 8, 10 hours, 12 hours, at least I'll be able to talk about it the next day.
Right.
This is going to pass at some point in time. We got to keep people safe. That's the most important thing.
What do you think we could expect from the press briefing that is scheduled to take place in about 3.5 minutes?
Not much, unless they've got the guy without anything leaking out about it. They're not going to talk much. This guy could be, have a way to monitor news, and they don't want to give him any clue.
Well, it's interesting. Let me just speculate here. It's interesting that CNN had breaking news on the crawl that cars were being police cars and SWAT teams were being rushed to BC Dartmouth, and that he had been a student there, and then that all just went away. I haven't seen that or heard that in a long time. So maybe, playing devil's advocate, maybe the police convinced the networks to lay low on that, don't broadcast it after CNN did or whatever, and maybe they did do something. Who knows?
Or could have been a cold lead. That happens all the time too. In our business, things pop up, and you think that's it. This is our lead. It's going to solve the case.
Right.
You throw out all the guns. You run over there. Emergency lights flashing.
Nothing.
And then it turns out to be nothing.
Yeah.
So it could be something like that too.
All right. Listen, Jeff. Really, thank you so much, and we appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
You're welcome, Steve. Take care.
Take care. All right. That's Jeff Lanza, ladies and gentlemen.